This video will demonstrate how to set up and implement row cover on a small farm. The best ways to manage pests is through preventing them in the first place. One simple way to prevent many pests throughout the entire growing season is through row cover. A simple cloth row cover can prevent many insects or small animals. In addition to pest prevention, row cover can be used for season extension of cold hardy crops like kale or spinach. This is how we set up and maintain row cover on a small farm at Colby College in Waterville, Maine. Use metal rods or PVC pipe cut to about 7 feet. Put one end of the rod in the ground at the start of the row and another 3 to 4 feet away on the other side of the row. We usually space each rod about 6 to 8 feet away from one another. This is enough room so that we can make the most out of the amount of our rods, but also not too much so that the row cover does not sag. Setting up the rods can be done before or after you've planted your plants. However, putting on the fabric cover over the rods should be done after you've planted. You can still access your plants after you've put up row cover, but it is just much easier to plant without trying to manage fabric. Continue spacing rods about 6 to 8 feet apart until you've reached the end of your row. Then, take your row cover and lay it out over the rod. Here, you'll want to ground the fabric solidly on the end. Some people use rocks, others use small 5 or 10 pound sandbags, but we use dirt. We scoop dirt from underneath the fabric and then put it on top of the beds. Make sure you've got a solid base at the start, one that is even on both sides and under enough weight so that it won't slip from a few tugs. Then, move the fabric to the next rod. This time, dig underneath the 2 sides and put dirt on the sides of the fabric. Weigh it down with enough dirt so it won't give underneath the tug, but not too much that it makes the fabric sink. We do not want the fabric to touch the plant. It is okay if it does, but it's better if it doesn't. If the fabric touches a plant, then an insect can more easily fly to that area and lay eggs on the plant through the fabric. And then you might end up with a self-contained spawning area for insects like flea beetles or squash bugs. Continue putting soil or weights down on the ends of the cloth all the way down the row, finishing the row the way you started by gathering the fabric in one tight clump and putting dirt or weights on it. If you want to access the plants for harvesting or just want to check on them, you can push the dirt off one side of the cloth and pull the fabric back. Take a look, and then put the row cover back over. Watering the plants should be no problem through the row cover. The water naturally seeps through. We use drip tape in order to water directly at the roots, but I have also watered from a watering can through the fabric onto the plant. You'll have to be careful with that, because it can cause extra stress on the fabric, but if you water slowly, it is possible. When finishing up at the end of the season, if your fabric is lightly used and still fairly clean, you can fold it up and store it in a clean, dry place for use next summer. Thank you for joining me in learning about how to use row cover in a small farm.